Micah 4:5. And you, 4:8. And you, O tower of the flock, hill of the daughter of Zion, to you shall it come. The former dominion shall come, the kingdom of the daughter of Jerusalem. Your hand shall be lifted up over your enemies, and all your enemies shall be cut off. He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. Amen. And that is what I believe the Lord is bringing us to. I missed a dream, a very important dream, although I'm going to put the link on, and because it's a really old one, I think I should do it, because back in those days I was trying to impress you, and so I had music going on in the background and I was very nervous. So I just wanted to encourage those who don't know what's happening, who don't know what to think about Trump, who don't, and who are now facing the fact that that things haven't happened. I see here, I've just Genesis 49:10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from beneath his feet, until Shiloh, Messiah, come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So a lot of stuff was happening then. That was back in 2016, and the Lord was speaking to me during the night on the 7th of the 19th of the 7th, beg your pardon. There, I remember hearing the word Shema here, and and it was going through all my dreams. I didn't know what it was, and but it is the prayer that all Jews hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one Lord. Love the Lord with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. The next night, I actually saw like an anagram, ARRC, and it turned out to be the Allied Rapid Response Corps, and I was able to go in there and see that all the Allied forces on the borders around Russia, and all in places that we don't know about, and and also on the 23rd, today was the vote on Brexit. I dreamt a murderer was just about to start his rampage of blood, and that Dennis had brought a small red boat, be my husband as in God, and was deciding whether it was too small. Okay, so he needs a bigger boat to save the people. So that's talking about this rampage. In this ARC, I was able to go in, and it was like their Facebook page. The troops were talking to each other, and they were posting pictures. And one of the pictures, was they titled it house cleaning, and it was a picture of a guy with a hand grenade throwing it into a house. So that's the sort of thing they find funny. But I also wanted, this was a really great one, on the 7th of August, Sunday, and that's what I believe is happening, that the dream that I wanted to share with you today is called The War is Over, the Red Bull is coming to get us. The Red Bull, Nibiru, is coming to get us, because I believe as above, so below. While God is doing things in the heavens, the same sort of thing happens on the earth, and that Trump is sort of acting out, what is happening in the heavens. So he's our earthly version of it. And, for those of you who expect Jesus to come in the flesh, I'm going to get some flack here, He comes to Jerusalem, and with one leg on one side of the on the valley and one on the other. So that obviously, and there's a huge earthquake, and it splits. His return, he splits in two. So that obviously can't be just a physical human being return this time. So I think you really have to start thinking of another way. So, and this is what I believe is happening. The 7th of August, Sunday, I looked up into the sky and saw something like white tongues of fire, almost an arrow shape. So I've sort of drawn it like that. Can you see that sort of funny? I always have trouble drawing the things. Like an arrow shape, which joined at the end to become angels. and there were thousands of them. I was very excited and tried to get Lisa to look up, but she would not. Then there were a couple of reporters who had heard that something was going on down here on the quay, and they came for a story. I think one was Nan, and although she's a journalist, I know, and although who hates me. And although one would expect them to be sceptical, they were not. So that was a real witness that it was her, and because she's a Buddhist as well. And they saw all these people playing music on invisible instruments because of the strength of the vibrations of the angels above them. Okay, so that is these tongues, you know. So that was incredible, that dream. So, but I wanted to talk to you about this dream of Warren Mooney, because even at that time I hadn't understood everything that it meant. And just the simple fact that the name Mooney also has connotations that I hadn't connected at the time. So Warren Mooney is my second cousin. Dreamt Warren Mooney, my second cousin who inherited the family farm, was standing high up on a rise amongst the townsfolk when he made the pronouncement that the war was over. I'm not sure how he knew that, but he seemed pretty confident about it. And then the herd of cattle came walking down the hill towards me. They were all red, and I was a little nervous as the red bull was coming to me. He stood in front of me, and I touched his head. Okay, so I always have the witnesses. So the next night, Jeff Gilbertson was going to marry me. Same night. Number 3, I was taking a bath on a bright, sunny day on the open road. There wasn't much traffic for me to be concerned about, but then someone came and I could see he was thinking of taking advantage of my vulnerability, but I sent him on his way, warning him as he went. Number 4, Leonard, so it's Leonard Cohen, I talked about him in my last stream. Leonard Cohen, he was the one, many of you will know, he wrote the song Hallelujah. He's a Jew, but pretty Christian Jew. Leonard had made some new songs, and the younger generation was now listening to them. I was sharing a bed with one of them. He revealed Leonard's new song to me, and I was considering getting the new CD. It was as if there were quite a few young people staying in the same house as me, and I alerted them to the danger of an extension cord with exposed wires, which was very dangerous. Okay. It's getting dark in here. I just have to turn on the light. Sorry. So this is what I have. Warren means led or lord of the land, announces the end of the war between God and Satan. And of course, Mooney, being Mooney, is that the moon is the church. The red bull coming for me is Jesus, and that is also spoken of in Bollinger's stars. He is the red bull, and that is the star Taurus. So that's all scriptural and in the Mazzaroth. So the next dream. Owner, so the next dream is the owner, so Jeff Gilbertson, the owner of Mitre 10, he has the big giant Mitre 10 store, so which means great mighty mountain, and 10 of course is completion. And then the third one in the bath, the whole world can see my vulnerability and public cleansing, and those who would think to harm me are now sent away. Number 4, new songs, new beginnings, a new generation where we all care and look after each other. Also realise that the twinkling of an eye, the time between dusk and night, is the midnight cry in Greenwich Mean Time, England. Okay, I was born at that time. So, okay, so that's just one day's dreams, and that was 29th of August 2016. And so that is what I'm actually believing now, and that a time has changed. And just as all my dreams of Trump, if I showed you them, 2016, they were all positive. I start here 21st of March. That was 2017, just after he was elected. I was Ivanka Trump's mother, and she had just asked me if I would like to join them for dinner. I asked if I would feel comfortable, and you could see her first thought was that I would not be, so she said she would just be wearing the same clothes she wears in the daytime, but that she'd find me some good earrings. Donald was smoothing out the last wrinkles in the tablecloths as he returned them to their plastic bags. I was amazed at his patience and meticulousness, and commented on what a neat man he was. He replied that one could not eat at a table without a tablecloth, could one? And I replied, of course not, but that nobody else would go to the efforts he does. He smiled knowingly and looked at me until I had to look away. He did that several times, seeing I was very bashful. He seemed to enjoy it. I had an apron on, and there were several layers of pockets. He dropped something into one pocket, and then, as I was coming out to dinner with them, he put his credit card in another one. I was not so happy about that, but accepted the gesture, as I was feeling anxious about what I was going to do, since spilling porridge over myself. Men on the street were training to be medics. They had double collars on their shirts and were learning how to move and gather the patient's medical details before attempting treatment. They were all very proud of what they were doing. It was as if the times had changed and we had returned to a time of pride and dignity where we were proud to work diligently. In all the dreams, it was night time. So I really should go through and take all the dreams that I have dreamt of Trump, and because there really are a great deal. Here's another one. I was part of Ivanka Trump's family now, but I was so busy cleaning up the house I was missing out on joining them. My house had very high walls and ceilings, and there were cobwebs wherever the light shone down. I didn't know how I'd get to them all. There was someone with me who was also part of the family now, and she was trying on Ivanka's gorgeous sapphire and diamond earrings. They were planning on going out to lunch, but I was concerned about the large quantity of large white bait in the fridge. I feel I was naked. I was pulling out a plug of potato peelings from the tap. It went on and on until finally the last concentrated bit came out. The large wine carboy had evaporated. That's another dream. Had evaporated. The large wine carboy had evaporated its contents again. Looking down on it, it appeared to have wine in it, but when you held it up there, it was clear that it was empty with nothing but the line where the wine had been, giving the illusion of it. It was the second time it had happened. And then number 4, a small silver electric car of very sporty design arrived. The French doors were open, double doors, but I hoped he would not come to that door as the room was a mess. He was here to give a price on fixing the roof. He came into the study, ironing room, and my sewing machine was up high, and he had to push aside things lying on the floor. He asked me if I was sure I couldn't stand the timber-coloured top on my machine, as he was planning to paint it too. But I said no, he should not take too much notice of anything I said, cut it all in half and throw the rest out of the window or something to that effect. So you can see all these dreams are talking. I've written all sorts of things here. I'm cleansing myself. I'm in the king's household, but I need to clean up my act and unblock the plumbing all the peels, or I will miss out on the dinner. See, in here, fish salvation going to waste. All these, I'm very negative in my thinking about myself. But when I look at that now, just 2 years later, I can see other. I can see this is all just talking about this new time, and being joined in this, and not worrying. It's a time to not worry about the, and to clear out the blockages. To clear out those things that are stuck in the taps, and if I keep worrying about what's in the past, what's waiting in the fridge, I'm going to miss out on the meal that's now. And I think that, like this small electric car, this is the future. The future's here. The future's arrived at our door. So all this I just sort of offer up to you to, just to show, real dreams and how God talks, and those are far, you can see that those, they make sense, even though they're nonsensical, they still make sense. And but only, as I did in that video, the war is over, the Red Bull is coming to get us, and I believe that was Nibiru. So everything that's happening in the clouds, he is the Red Bull. Nibiru is the Red Bull, and he's also surrounded by the darkness. If you read, what's his name? Doug Elwell's Sign of the Son of the Man, you will see all through the Bible, all through the Psalms, Nibiru, Planet X, described, and it is Jesus coming back. This is how he's coming back to judge the nations, and I believe he is here. He's here now. That it has happened. That time has come, and we are waiting for something that already is, and that his salvation and this time of, just as it spoke of those the tongues, that everybody on the quay will see, that they will see this revival. They will see the tongues of fire turn into angels, and the angels that play the music, beautiful music, will come down because of the it's just like in Psalm 85, which was that other dream, wake me up when September ends. And I will read you the whole psalm because I read it this morning, and it just struck me again of how absolutely beautiful and how true it was, and how it relates to everything I'm saying to you. So Lord, thou was favourable. Lord, thou was favourable to thy land. Thou did restore the fortunes of Jacob. Thou didst forgive the iniquity of thy people. See, it's past. Thou didst pardon all their sins. Thou didst withdraw all thy wrath. Thou didst turn from thy hot anger. Restore us again, O God of our salvation, and put away thy indignation towards us. Wilt thou be angry with us forever? Wilt thou prolong thy anger to all generations? Wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? Show us thy steadfast love, O Lord, and grant us thy salvation. Let me hear what God the Lord will speak, for he will speak peace to his peoples, to his saints, to those who turn to him in their hearts. Book of Joel, if you rend your hearts and not your garments. Surely his salvation is at hand for those who fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Steadfast love and faithfulness will meet. Righteousness and peace will kiss each other. Faithfulness will spring up from the ground, and righteousness will look down from the sky. Yea, the Lord will give what is good, and our land will yield its increase. Righteousness will go before him and make his footsteps a way. Amen. And with that, I think I'm going to finish on my Hosea, the first painting I ever did. There it is. That one there. Come, let us return unto the Lord. He has torn us to pieces, but he will heal us. He has injured us, but he will bind up our wounds. After 2 days he will revive us. On the 3rd day he will restore us, that we may live in his presence. Let us acknowledge the Lord. Let us press on to know him. As surely as the sun rises, he will appear. He will come like the winter rains, like the spring rains that water the earth. Okay, wow, do you hear that thunder? Whoa. He's coming. He's coming on the clouds. That's what he said. He's coming on the clouds. So will you be ready to meet him? Will you be the bride with the wedding garment on? Or, will that be given to one of the ones in the wayfarers and the highways and the byways because you weren't ready? You didn't have your garment on. So the garment is the Spirit. If you haven't got tongues, ask the Lord to fill you with tongues and start pressing in and really rapture yourself, be raptured like Stephen. Look up to Jesus, look up and be raptured and joined with him, and we will hear peace from heaven, the voice of peace, the voice of shalom from heaven. So thanks for watching.